Well, J.K. Rowling made 7 books that were a big hit, tried writing others but nobody liked them, but needed to kill some time before attempting to write some screenplays that would also be crap. So what's the sensible next course of action? Continuing the only franchise that she's ever had any success in.
Hello everybody, and this is a video that I've been putting off for a while. This was Dave's idea. I didn't want to do it. He goes, nah, that'd be great. Not many people have reviewed it, and I have done my absolute best to put this off until the very last minute. We're filming this at the end of April. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. We're gonna read through it, and you're gonna see a live reaction. I have no idea what this is about, other than his kid. Apparently, this is dog balls.
Despite criticisms from many fans, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child achieved significant commercial success and won numerous theatre awards, including several Olivier and Tonys. While many longtime fans view Cursed Child as a disappointing and unnecessary extension of the beloved series, it undeniably left a mark on the franchise's legacy and showed that there was still an appetite for Wizarding World stories, even ones that spark controversy. The story follows Albus Severus Potter, oh my god, son of Harry, as he enters the world of Hogwarts, where nobody understands how the hell pacing works, so they fast forward through 4 years of the first 2 acts for a laugh. Harry's scar begins to hurt, leading him to suspect that Voldemort is still alive. Again. Also, he's not. Yeah, throughout this whole play, Voldemort is not alive. So my question is, why the hell does his scar hurt?
Voldemort is dead. So why the fuck is Harry's scar hurting again?
So I'm guessing he doesn't come back in this.
No, he doesn't.
No Voldemort.
Minor spoiler for later, but Voldemort doesn't come back. And also, the Horcrux within Harry was destroyed.
Meanwhile, apparently another Time Turner is lurking around, so while he and the adults attempt to confiscate it, his son and his new boyfriend, Scorpius Malfoy, was John just taken?
Sorry, Rob has just thrown his headphones off, clearly in despair. I'm going to be honest, guys. I figured the play would break him. I didn't think it would break him this early on.
Scorpius Malfoy. This is... Can't wait for us to meet Cyclops Longbottom.
Set out to travel back in time to save the life of Cedric Diggory. Because if your franchise has run dry, history shows time travel will fix it.
They've finally got the time turn and they're just saving Cedric. No one else. Not saving Dumbledore, not saving Snape, not saving Harry's parents.
But unsurprisingly, everything goes balls up and everyone has to work together to stop these time-travelling shenanigans from breaking the fabric of reality, because apparently the writers saw Back to the Future Part 2.
When I was 10, a little film came out. It was called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I was really excited. Little 10-year-old, I read the books up to that point. I was like, yeah, let's go watch my boy Harry. And I went and I fucking loved that film. And then I watched another one. Then I watched another one. And for the past 24 years, I have loved this universe, having grown up with it. It's just such a wholesome universe, if you ignore all the racist shit in the books. Such a wholesome universe. And then one day, Dave comes along and says, let's read The Cursed Child. And then I find out that wholesome character that I loved so much bred a creepy little rapist trying to bang his aunt. And I'm not okay with that. And we're not even on Act 2 yet. I don't know what to do with this information.
Shockingly, it was only in December 2013, just 2 years after the last Potter film came out, that it was confirmed that a stage play based on the series was in production. And J.K. Rowling was still relatively liked back then, so this was actually welcomed news. She claimed that it would explore the previously untold story of Harry's early years as an orphan and an outcast.
Rose is worried whether she'll break the Quidditch scoring record in her first or second year, and how early she can take her OWLs.
I'm sorry. Was this established in the books? Is there exams? Are there exams in the Potterverse called the OWLS?
Yes. Ordinary wizarding levels.
Yeah, so this is what they're called, like their version of like GCSEs, essentially.
Yeah, and there's also NEWTs, which I think is nastily exhausting wizarding tests.
Why did people give this woman a career? Why do people think she has a talent in writing?
What? Just because she had exams be taken in Hogwarts?
No, but the acronym. Ah, yes, wizards also take a test called Mystical, Alphabetical, Geographical, intellectual classes, or also known as magic.
And though Rowling didn't write it herself, she worked closely alongside writer Jack Thorne and the creative team throughout the entire process. So it is in fact all of her fault. However, she was also adamant that it would not be a prequel. This caused a lot of confusion as fans wondered why Rowling couldn't just write a new novel instead of adapting it into a play, to which she replied that she was confident that when audiences see the play, they will agree that it is the only proper medium for the story. I do not in fact agree. She also gave the fans a lot of reassurance that she would be telling an entirely new story without rehashing any of the previously explored content. Except Harry first entering the platform.
Best to do it in a run if you're nervous. I'm
There's
ready.
something about this that sounds very familiar.
Yeah. I was gonna say that line sounds so familiar. Play the clip here.
The children being sorted into the relevant houses twice.
He puts his hat on Rose's head.
Gryffindor.
There's something very familiar about this. I don't know how she comes up with these original and creative ideas.
Got something for you here. I might have sat on it at some point, but it'll taste all right.
Do you know how we can fill out this play? Just copy and paste.
The Triwizard Tournament twice. No, thrice. Yeah, if you like Goblet of Fire, this is the play for you. They show the introduction to the Triwizard Tournament over and over and over and over and over.
Are we just copying and pasting?
We're using gillyweed to breathe underwater, just like my dad did. Now are you ready?
Got no ideas. We're just copying everything from the first fucking 8 movies, 7 books. We have no ideas because people have realised I'm a one-trick transphobic cunt who can't make a good movie. My fucking trilogy, wait till you arseholes see that that's coming out. They're all fucking awful. And now I'm going to do this shit play and just repeat everything.
Polyjuice potions, time travel, Draco being nasty to Hermione, Ron being awkward with Hermione, Ginny having no personality or character, Harry being the only chosen one who can save the day, Harry being abused and neglected by his aunt and uncle. But other than that, it's a brand new story. There exist 2 different versions of the play. A 3-act version which runs at around 3 hours, and a 4-act which is close to 4.5. The latter of which is the one that I read.
I'm having a splendid time. I don't know about you guys.
Rob, are you having fun yet? Are you having fun yet? I feel like I'm about to fall asleep.
However, the shorter version had over 90 minutes trimmed out, removing a bunch of dream sequences. And this genuinely does have Albus and Scorpius as a romantic couple, whereas in the longer versions, it's only hinted at.
In the girls' bathroom on the first floor. What on earth could they be doing there?
I'm telling you guys, this is an LGBTQ plus play about 2 lovers meeting in Hogwarts. Oh, they're used to being piped all right, Moaning Myrtle. Don't you worry.
But no, let's be honest, they're definitely gay. What with all of this talk of them raising their wands together and them always having their wands out, I'm just saying. Tickets went on sale in October 2015 and sold around 175,000 in just under 8 hours. In fact, they were selling so quickly they had to extend the booking period. What caused even more confusion is that Noma Dumezweni was cast as Hermione, with Rowling clearly not reading her own book because she claimed that her skin colour was never specified when it was! Don't worry, we'll cast an Asian later. Also, I can't wait for Hermione to be an ethnic minority and she's trying to break out all of the house elves and try to end slavery, and then everyone looks at this person who is now an ethnic minority, this person of colour, and they look at her and they demonise her for trying to free slaves. That's going to go down well, isn't it, with this new casting? Joe, I think this casting is going extremely well. The play officially opened up on July the 3rd, 2016 and has continued to play to this day in various venues around the world to, shall we say, mixed reviews. Even with Tom Felton officially reprising his role as Draco Malfoy because he can't do anything else apparently. But I don't even care, I love Tom Felton. I can watch him be Draco for another 15 years. While some audiences and critics enjoyed the performances, they felt like it didn't live up to the quality of the films or books. But the play did end up receiving several 5-star ratings from various newspapers. Within the fandom, reviews were also split. Some felt it captured the elements of the characters really well, while others thought it actually contradicted things set out in the previous books and movies, as well as rehashing old storylines despite Rowling's claimed intentions. They were also accused of queer-baiting the characters of Albus and Scorpius, as they never outright confirmed their sexuality, though the director, John Tiffany, claimed that it would not have been appropriate to have done so. Yeah, they can defy the laws of physics by making feathers float, but heaven forbid they make 2 fellas kiss. We must protect the children. It was in July 2016 when Warner Brothers applied to buy the rights to the play, which led to much speculation that it would also be turned into a feature film one day. In November 2021, director of the original Potter movie, Chris Columbus, did express interest in in taking the reins, with the 3 lead actors reprising their roles. Unfortunately, a year later, Daniel Radcliffe stated that he wasn't interested in the project at that present point in time. And with the upcoming HBO series and the current status of J.K. Rowling's reputation, it's unlikely it's ever going to happen. And good, because this sucks! Not only does a great deal of the play consist of them repeating scenes, not even from the original movies, but from earlier in the same play, not only do they include Bane in their script, which is very strange.
Harry Potter! Good, you still recognise me, Bane. You've grown older.
But they also have a bizarre obsession with calling Cedric hot, even when it's random and unnecessary.
He makes us all weaky at the kneesy. He's Cedric Delicious Diggory.
Delicious. This is a minor.
Delicious. Really? Really? And weaky at the kneesy.
If anyone's fancies hitting me with a car, I wouldn't object at all.
Are you aware, good sirs, that this character is in fact a minor? Scorpius is also referred to as the Scorpion King. Yeah, don't give Warner Brothers any ideas, guys. Out of all of the Potter films and even Fantastic Beasts, this is most certainly the worst piece of media connected to this goddamn franchise. It doesn't even seem real. It comes across as amateur fanfic. The fact that it has Rowling on as a consultant is even more embarrassing. There's a scene where Ron acts more like his brothers. Did they forget who Ron was supposed to be? Why is he acting like Fred?
This is not how Ron was in the books whatso-fucking-ever.
Yeah.
All the movies.
No, this is very much movie Ron and not book Ron, because
No. This is.
I wouldn't even say this is movie Ron. No,
this guy's acting like Fred and George.
This guy,
I was gonna say, yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of that in this play. There's a scene where Hermione gets the Ministry officials together and tells them that Voldemort might be back. Draco immediately starts being a dickhead and gets everyone to leave, which already doesn't make sense because for the last 3 movies, weren't they building up Draco's redemption story?
I love how they've kind of gone back on all the development of Draco. He's back to being a bit of a cunt again. Like, full-on cunt.
But no, he's back to being a stereotypical bully again. But Hermione, instead of doing what we know she would do and saying, "Bitches, get back here, I will hex you," she's just like, "No, wait, come back." So Ron is a clown, Draco is an asshole, and Hermione is a wimpy sissy. Although when they go through time and mess up the timeline, she actually becomes a teacher who's a complete dick, and I will admit, it is kind of funny to see her basically be a female Snape.
Losing patience now. 10 points from Gryffindor for stupidity.
yeah.
What
10.
now?
No, that's such a funny line. That's like a Snape line.
But the worst of all is Harry. He is a terrible father in this. Now, I get it. He's had a tough childhood and survived a war he fought in as a teenager, so I can imagine him being a bit of a hard ass. Actually, I take that back. No, I can't! He fought through loads of battles and he was never a dick. What's going on? Even in the last movie, he's still alright with his kid. But now all of a sudden he's a complete tosspot.
And you think that was unlucky? I don't. You wish me dead? No, I just wish you weren't my dad. Well, there are times where I wish you weren't my son.
Who says this to their own son? This is like fucking Kevin's mom in Home Alone. Well, maybe you should ask Santa for a new family.
Like, spend 7.
Say it again. Maybe it'll happen.
7 books, 8 movies, making Harry the most likable character. And then he becomes a dad and he's like, well, look, I don't even want you.
I just wish he was more like James or Lily. What do you mean? You are a horrible father.
Like, Lord have mercy, Harry.
I need you to obey me because I'm your dad and I do know better. I'm sorry, Albus. It has to be this way.
You are a terrible fucking father.
What have you done to Harry Potter?
Harry would never do this to his fucking son.
He would do this to Ron, let alone his own son.
Harry, you have one of the greatest hearts of any wizard who ever lived. Does he? Does he, Ginny? Does he?
There are moments where he acts completely out of character for no reason. He signs autographs despite previously hating his fame. He brushes off Amos Diggory when he asks him to save Cedric. He mocks Professor McGonagall for not having children.
With the greatest respect, Minerva, you don't have children.
Harry! Harry!
This is not character assassination. This is character rape.
Yes!
Is this like J.K. Rowling saw how many people loved her books and films and it's like, you know what? I don't appreciate all this jolliness. So just to run down the list, Harry wishes he never had one of his kids because he doesn't act like his other kids. He mocks McGonagall for not having her own kids, and now he's outright accusing Draco of not fathering his own child.
He forces Albus to cut off his best friend and doesn't explain why.
So I'm here to ask you why you would keep apart two good friends. I'm not keeping them apart. How is Draco the reasonable one?
Yes!
Sorry.
Exactly! Ow!
They got the characters confused, I swear.
Maybe Half-Blood Prince wasn't half bad.
Draco bounces Harry up and down on the... Initially, I thought gay joke, and then I thought, is he a fucking rubber ball? So I'm thinking of Nightmare on Elm Street 6, where he's got Breckenmeyer bouncing around the room.
No!
What is this? This is Harry Potter! The kid who knows what it's like to feel unloved, who knows what it's like to be picked on and harassed for something you didn't ask for, who knows what it's like to feel hated by your parental figures and the people who are supposed to look out for you, and you think that man would ever tell his own goddamn son that he wished he wasn't his? I mean, he regrets it immediately after, but the point is this is something Harry would never do!
Tom Riddle was also a lonely child. You may not understand that, Harry, but I do. And I think Ginny does too. Why wouldn't Harry understand that? He saw Tom Riddle's memories. Why wouldn't Harry understand? He saw, and this is based on the books. This is inspired by the books. He saw his fucking memories. He saw his past. He saw the things that made Voldemort the way he is. He saw everything. And in the end, Voldemort was a terrible human being, but he was a human being. He was a being who became a monster. Harry saw that. And instead, we have to go, no, Harry didn't understand that because we're going to fucking throw all the fucking development out the fucking window and fuck this play and fuck the films and fuck these books and fuck you two for making me join this and
It was your idea!
And considering in part 4 it's Harry who again has grown up being abused and locked under the stairs, and Ron who's grown up in tatters, a poor, broke family with nothing, it makes even less sense that J.K. Rowling, the little scrote who actually wrote these characters, still thinks that those two people would condemn Hermione for trying to free slaves. J.K. Rowling is not a good writer, and we, as a society, need to stop pretending she is. Let's deport her. France can have her. In fact, later on, he strong-arms McGonagall into keeping Albus and Scorpius apart and threatens her with ministry action when he pushes back. What have you done to Harry James Potter? But let's not pretend that his son Albus is an innocent little angel either. There's a scene where he takes a polyjuice potion and takes the form of Ron. Now, Hermione, obviously unaware that it's essentially her nephew, kisses him.
He kisses Hermione firmly.
isn't this sexual assault? Like,
Oh,
being
no.
unknowingly kissed.
No, it's even worse. Albus is a fucking minor. Why did they think this was okay? You're kissing your aunt. That's even worse. Why are you blocking the entrance to my office?
I'm not blocking anything.
She again makes for the door. He blocks her again.
You are. Let me into my room, Ron.
Let's have another.
Oh, here we go. Robbie, you're right.
I read it before Dave said the line. I'm like, whoa. I feel like I'm going to be investigated if the police stop by the house and they see that I'm reading this. This is like a paedophile's manual. What's going on, Rowling?
Does J.K. Rowling just have withdrawal symptoms if she doesn't include rape somewhere in her script? What is wrong with you?
He blocks her with a kiss! And it develops into quite a struggle. They used the word struggle. Oh my god, they used the word struggle. And now he's trying to get her drunk.
Maybe
No! No! I don't like this. Why is Harry's kid trying to rape Hermione?
I don't know whether to high five you or what. I don't know whether to.
Say the full line.
I don't know whether to high five you or frown at you for kissing your aunt about 500 times. What is wrong with this?
Never used to enjoy that, but when you get to my age, you take what you can.
Sorry,
you take what you can.
These are minors.
what
These
in
are
the
minors
fuck?
moaning.
What the fuck? What the
What is this? Have you been bad boys again?
I need to take a shower after reading this.
What is this? Why? Why do you think this is a good
This is Harry Potter, the porno edition. I'm never going to be able to take this franchise seriously again, guys.
So all the returning characters are character assassinated, and all the new characters are either boring as hell or want to bang their arms. I think the only character who acts and speaks like their character is Professor McGonagall.
You see, this is not a bad idea that they could have. Obviously, he's trying to get out of his dad's shadow. His dad's this famous wizard, and he feels like he will never live up to his dad's name. It's not a bad idea. They just don't really, well, so far haven't delivered it well.
The whole setup is just lazy. You wanted to revisit the wizarding world and this is the best you could come up with? What, they go back in time and try to save Cedric? That was all you could think of?
And we've no time to lose.
You have a time machine in your hand!
However, they mess up the timeline and then they have to keep going back to the exact same scenes over and over again to try to repair it. In one alternate timeline, they bump into Professor Snape. You see, in this timeline, they cost Cedric the Triwizard Tournament so he doesn't die, but in doing so, he becomes a murderous Death Eater. Bit of an overreaction, I'd say. Isn't that like Harry Kane losing the World Cup and then becoming a Nazi? But since Cedric loses the tournament, he turns evil and kills Neville Longbottom. And since he killed Neville Longbottom, Neville didn't kill Nagini, and therefore Voldemort didn't die and he ended up killing Harry. Did you get all that? Wait a minute! If all of that happened, how the hell is Snape alive? Think about it, Neville's dead, he doesn't kill the stupid Snape, therefore Voldemort doesn't die and he wins, but Snape's already dead at the point that Neville kills Nagini. Snape still would have died. How is he alive in this timeline? How did this bitch make £1 billion when she has the writing consistency of a dyslexic crackhead?
Might not want to believe everything he tells you about Hogwarts is a fucking death trap, Ginny. What the fuck are you on about? Don't make it out like this is a wholesome place. You nearly died there every year. What?
This is Hogwarts. They won't let damage happen to any of the champions. Okay, bullshit. Bullshit.
The play just relies solely on nostalgia. There's a whole scene of Scorpio just relaying to Snape about the death of Dumbledore, and they also remove the impact of his death because he comes back as a ghost portrait talking to Harry. But the thing is, Snape also does not act like Snape in this play whatsoever. Naturally, he thinks Scorpius is a psycho for saying that he came from the future, but he reveals information about him and Lily that he couldn't possibly know, so he believes him and he buys it almost instantly. Can you imagine Alan Rickman's Snape, or even book Snape, saying these things? None of these words would come from the man we all knew and loved, / sometimes hated. Although admittedly he does get a funny Snape-esque line here where he points out how many more people care about Hermione than Ron. Although it could also be a perverted joke, make of that what you will. Although that doesn't make sense as far as the books are concerned, because in the novels Hermione was ugly, so it doesn't really work if it's not Emma Watson. Although Snape sure as hell got it right when he said this. He even at one point is ashamed to quote Dumbledore, but why? Wasn't he a mentor to him? Weren't they close? Why does Snape hate Dumbledore now? Although they do their best trying to undo Dumbledore being a prick to Harry. Yeah, good luck. They have him say he was trying to protect him and all sorts. Alright, you lying douche face. Not only does the play repeat the same scenes over and over again, but they repeat the same jokes. There's a running joke that is in almost every time travel movie ever, where Ron and Hermione discover that they're married in another timeline and they're grossed out, and they keep using it over and over again. And then a few scenes later, she randomly professes her love for him all of a sudden and says that it was always there. I mean, yeah. I mean, they already had an attraction by the time Goblet of Fire's climax happened, so them not being a couple because Cedric turned evil makes no sense.
So you're telling me that Hermione and Ron only were attracted to each other because of jealousy?
Yes.
This is a healthy relationship.
But in this story, it just comes right the hell out of nowhere. Although they do tease Draco and Hermione again, and I will never stop shipping them. Although, there are actually some nice scenes with Draco. He opens up and admits that he was jealous of the friendship the trio had back in the day. Now, this is pretty solid characterization. But for the rest of the play, he's mostly just back to being a colossal douchebag, so the slight redemption they built up in the last few movies is still all gone. And the movies scarcely mention the Dementors' kiss, but there's a reason. I will never take it seriously when there's an intense warning of the Dementors coming to kiss them. Oh no, watch out! Freddy Krueger's gonna hump me! I'm amazed that Rowling claimed it was an all-new story, because despite the title, the entire play is still just focused on Harry. We get more flashbacks to him being abused by the Dursleys, as if we've not already seen that enough. There's also a character called Delphi who joins Albus and Scorpius on their quest, but we later discover that she's the child of Voldemort and Bellatrix, and she was born just before the Battle of Hogwarts. When? How? Why? I mean, are they aware that it takes 9 months to have a baby? Bellatrix had to have given birth before the battle because she dies during it, but not at any point does she look or act like she's just given birth. Wouldn't the other Death Eaters have noticed a pregnant belly? Wouldn't Harry have noticed this at Malfoy Manor? How would they have kept any of this a secret? How would nobody have noticed this? In fact, they even acknowledge in this very play that Voldemort is incapable of love. So did they decide to just shag mid-world domination? Ah, Bellatrix, let me put my Avada Kedavra on hold and we can get our groove on. A Voldemort offspring isn't even that bad of an idea, but this went all Rise of Skywalker on our asses and it makes no sense. Although admittedly, at least they're consistent with Ginny being barely a character in this. The stage direction even admits to ripping off other material. Yeah, this is a real line. It's almost a Spartacus moment. Almost, not quite. What is this? Rowling also can't resist writing out dialogue phonetically again because, Scots speak funny, you know. And why is only the first part of the sentence done that way? So the big climax of the play is Delphi trapping the heroes back in time in 1981 on the night Harry's parents died. And it's up to the heroes to protect little baby Harry from Voldemort, because now we're stealing directly from the Terminator. But since they're trapped, they write a message on Harry's baby blanket, but with certain magic that make it only visible when a potion spills on it, knowing that it will happen 30 years later in their present day, so when he sees it, he can rush to the rescue and just say no to drugs, kids! Say no to drugs! Otherwise we'll get a sequel, Harry Potter and the Demented Cursed Child's Stupid Cousin. The third. Part 2. It turns out that Delphi is actually trying to stop Voldemort from killing Harry's parents so he doesn't die in the future. But in a weird way, they need his folks to die for everything to happen. So they use a Polyjuice potion, somehow considering Voldemort has no hair. But magic stuff happens and it works. But then Delphi sees right through him and, admittedly, this leads to a scene I really like. Of course, we get the cliche where Harry can't bring himself to kill another killer, but then the murder is about to happen. After all these years, Harry can't bring himself to leave, and he forces himself to listen to his parents get killed. But his friends stick by him, and they're with him through all of it. This is actually a really strong and impactful scene, I'll give him that. Until Hagrid becomes creepy and literally forces himself to be Harry's friend against his will. And it ends with us finding out that Harry Potter, the chosen one, the greatest wizard of all time who saved the world numerous times, is afraid of pigeons. This is awful!
Wait, he's saying it's worse than the Fantastic Beasts movies?
Yes. Without a shadow. At least the Fantastic Beasts movies, they're removed enough from the movies, that from the main Harry Potter story, that you can just pretend they don't exist.
I guess they're at least competently made, like, cinematically. They're removed. This doesn't feel like a script for a play. This is something that a child would throw together as a project.
Yeah, it feels like fan fiction. It feels like fan fiction.
And no one's proofread it. It genuinely does come across as fan fiction. And the fact that this got approved and this has been on stage.
This isn't Harry Potter. It's a slog of crap puked on by a walrus. The characters don't act or speak like they're characters, which is astonishing that J.K. Rowling was involved in making it. It's boring, it's uncreative and unimaginative. It's horrendous, and the fact that this tripe still pulls in viewers every single year makes me sick. This is the worst thing J.K. Rowling would ever produce, and considering what was to come next, that is really saying something.